Today we're going to discuss the assassination of Qasem Soleimani and the negative effect it had on national security interests for the United States and the Middle East. On January 3rd, 2020, the United States assassinated Qasem Soleimani at Baghdad International Airport via U.S. drone strike. The assassination was in response to the December 27th, 2019 killing of a U.S. contractor in Baghdad by Iranian-backed terrorists. But it was a symptom of a larger crisis in which Iran and the U.S. have both broken up over the nuclear proliferation deal, in which the U.S. was paying Iran not to develop nuclear weapons. The U.S. had attempted to say that it was to prevent an imminent attack, but walked back that statement, saying it was stopping a series of increased attacks. The issues for national security and destabilization in the region is that Qasem Soleimani was an Iranian general and one of the most beloved figures in Iran. He was very popular amongst the people and arguably the most popular in the government of Iran. His death triggered calls for a martyrdom retaliation attacks against the United States, which is worrisome because Iran uses non-state actors such as Hezbollah to carry out many of its proxy attacks against countries like Israel. But more troubling were the optics of the attack. The United States, the mightiest superpower in the world, used a drone to kill another military leader in a third country's sovereign area without any provocation. The drone strikes have historically, over the last 10 years, been the main propaganda point for anti-American sentiment in the developing of new recruits for terrorism. And the calls of martyrdom were to call for lone wolf style attacks against the United States, which arguably are the hardest to defend against, which would just generally make, on the home front, less safe. The other issue is now that Iran sees that they are under attack by the U.S. Quite literally and figuratively, the U.S. launched a military strike against them, killed their top military persona, and essentially saw no repercussions for this. So this pushes Iran to feel that they have, in order for their survival, they have to now develop nuclear weapons in order to prevent these style of attacks from happening again. If Iran were to get nuclear weapons in the region, which they're on track to develop now, it will provide great instability, because if Iran has it, now Saudi Arabia is going to want to have it. Israel is not going to want Iran to have it, and has, since the attack, carried out their own assassination attempts and legit assassinations of nuclear scientists in Iran, which furthermore complicates the issue and creates further instability. And finally, it fractured the relationship with Iraq and the United States. Iraqi diplomats had scheduled a meeting with Soleimani, and the U.S. had found out about this and launched the drone strike at Baghdad, which is inside Iraq, killing Soleimani as he was on his way to meet with Iraqi officials. The tensions became so hot that Iraq issued statements to the U.S. to evacuate all embassy personnel because it wasn't safe there because of the response to his assassination. And Parliament in Iraq also voted to expel and remove all American troops from the country. The U.S. was able to apply pressure via threatening to expel Iraq from Federal Reserve money, in which they backtracked that statement. But now we have our troops that are conducting training missions there against the will of the country that wants them to be there. And this just creates more instability in the region. And I think it generally affected the national security interests of the United States.